so we obviously, as if you've been seeing, have been going on a car trip. This is going to be a reading vlog, but this was something that we wanted to do anyway, and it's currently snowing, which is great, but it's like a winter storm here in Arizona for the northern areas. We, weeks ago, planned on going to Flagstaff and showing the kids the snow and having a hotel. Like, we did everything. We rented this car, which is great. It has four-wheel drive, but it's supposed to be even worse of a winter storm, like overnight, and we're afraid we're going to get stuck in Flagstaff, so we're not actually going up all the way to Flagstaff anymore. We've pulled off the major road at an exit that is just past where it started, like, really snowing, like, in general, and we're just gonna let the kids go play in the snow because we promised them snow. We're gonna go play for a little while, and then we're just gonna go back home tonight instead of trying to make it all the way to Flagstaff. We're only supposedly half an hour away from Flagstaff, but it's supposed to really dump more snow later. Like, it dumped like a whole foot last night in Flagstaff, and then it was mostly clear this morning. It was supposed to be clear for most of the time that we were going to be driving up and being there and then coming home tomorrow, but the storm has moved up. So we're just going to go play in the snow. Presley is very excited. He is somebody that doesn't like different shoes very often. Like, he only likes certain things, but he's very excited about snow boots. So let's do it. Hi, my baby. Hi. We had to get him in his snow gear. He's cold, but we're cozy in there. Yeah? We're good? His hands are too cold. There we go. Yeah! Are we in the snow? Yeah, and it's snowing in the snow. Hi. Sweet baby. This is the same outfit Presley wore when we went to the snow. He was also around 6 months old, but like, very nice. Very snowy and cold. Like, it's literally snowing right now. Hi, Elliot. She was not happy that we woke her up from her nap to do snow, but this is the only time we're doing it, and then we're going home. Stop silly.
So true. Snowboard.
Oh! Hello everyone. So, like I mentioned yesterday, this is going to be a reading vlog. We made it home safe last night, obviously. We went out to eat because my birthday is on Tuesday, and we didn't expect, blue Play-Doh. We didn't expect to be home in time for like something this week, but we were. So we went out to eat last night, and then we've just been sort of recovering today. We had some grocery shopping and stuff. We returned the rental car. And then we've just sort of been hanging out with the kids. Blue Play-Doh. Presley's, oh, thank you. What do you want me to do? Do you just want me to hold it, or do you want something? Do you want a little piece?
Yes.
Okay. But so we've just been hanging out with the kids. Presley's been doing Play-Doh quite a bit. And I have not read today, but I did want to mention this is the book that I started reading right before I started this reading vlog, called The Death of Honor by Lyra Thorson, which is also Danny Hoots. This is an indie author, and this is like her more adult stuff, because it seems like a lot of her normal stuff is young adult. And when I say normal, I guess like the majority of what she writes. This is adult sci-fi, which I'm like 30 pages into, basically. I was liking what I was reading, but I ended up having to put it down because of the kids the day I started this, and I just haven't continued yet. Basically, we're following these two characters here, at least at the beginning of the book so far. We have Nick and Rebecca, and they are on this, like, spaceship that's very small, and I think they maybe do some, like, sort of smuggling stuff. It seems like it might be something like that. And they're at this port, and they talk about how they're sort of on the run from whatever nation they are originally from, and it seems like they might be known that they're there. That's as far as I've gotten so far, but I'm very curious about it because I love sci-fi, and the cover is gorgeous. And I did meet this author at a Barnes & Noble signing event, so the book is signed and everything, and I'm very, very excited to continue with this. So I'm hoping to read some more, at least tonight, once the kids have gone to bed, since that seems to be the majority of time that I've been reading in general. And we have a pretty big week this week coming up, which is part of the reason I chose to do a reading vlog. But hopefully that means I do get to read enough, you know what I mean? So I will give you updates of this one as we continue. Hello and happy Tuesday. It is my birthday today, so we will be doing some reading sprints later in the day, which I'm hoping will help me get more done in this book. I actually read about 100 pages last night, and so I'm very curious to see where this is going. So far, we actually have 2 points of view, basically both of these two characters here, and while they're not super distinct, I am able to tell the difference between them well enough, but they're also both hiding something from the other person, and we don't fully know what either of them is actually hiding. We've had bits and pieces, and I think one of the things that I would have preferred is if we're having them hiding stuff from each other, it wasn't also hidden from us. Because right now, they're each talking to either themselves or another person in very, very cryptic ways, because it's supposed to be something that I guess is even, like, hidden from us. Like, we're not supposed to know exactly what's going on yet. We're supposed to be in suspense. But because they both have a secret, and each time we get to their point of view, they're both hiding things from each other, it's just sort of like, I wish we had a little bit more information so far. I'm sure we will get there. Like I said, I'm about 100 and something pages in now, probably about a third of the way through the book. I want to say that's about right. And so it's very quick and easy to read, very easy to get into, but I'm just at that point where I need more to happen because I don't fully understand what they're hiding from each other. It's stuff to do with their past. It's stuff to do with why they were sort of kicked out of the army and, like, they're traitors to their nation sort of thing. And I'm just like, why? It sort of seems to be like maybe two different sides of the same problem, but we don't fully know all the details yet. So I would like to know that. We also have Elliot's helmet appointment today, so that will mean I'm leaving soon for that. And like I said, it's my birthday, so we're going to be doing some reading sprints, which will help with the reading. I'm also doing a Stephen King vlog series, so I'm not actually talking about any Stephen King books that I'm reading currently. And when I say currently, I'm actually not reading any right now. I need to pick up my next one because I'm a couple days behind. But yeah, so that's another thing that I'm reading. I think I'm going to be reading this one, though, The Death of Honor, during the reading sprints. We shall see. But lots of reading and books and stuff is technically happening. You just aren't seeing all of it. But I think that's the update for right now because of the fact that I did read last night some, but I'm going to be having to go out and do errands, doctor appointments, that kind of stuff. So I will be doing more reading, and I'm hoping to finish this book. I don't know if I'm going to finish it tonight. Tomorrow morning at the latest, because I want to pick up at least one, maybe two more books on this vlog. And I have a busy week, like I said before, so we will be going back and forth between books and other things. Okay, so we are home from Elliot's appointment. They actually said that next time we go in, which is in a couple weeks, we will end up doing some more pictures of her head, but otherwise it's looking really, really good. And actually in about 4 weeks, we should either be completely done or needing a second helmet. But they don't think she's gonna need a second helmet, and we're not paying for a second helmet because I think her head looks really, really nice now. And we still have 4 weeks to go. So it looks like she's gonna be done in 4 weeks, which is amazing. And then now it's like almost 4. I am planning on doing my reading sprint soon. So we're preparing some food ahead of time because it is my birthday, so we're doing a birthday dinner, and I'm technically cooking a Parmesan Brussels sprout thing, and then we add bacon to it. The recipe doesn't have that, but we add bacon to it, and it's amazing, like so good. We tried it for the first time at Thanksgiving, and we've had it a couple times since. Like, it's that good. And so he's helping cutting garlic right over there now, and I'll probably just have it ready enough that we can put it in the oven during reading sprints, because we're planning on having dinner after. So yeah, have not read anything else today, but reading sprints should catch us up, and I think that's about it. Just exciting stuff with helmets and food.
Okay, so we have hit 40 so far. Got a little bit more into my book, probably around 30 pages or so, because the text is quite big. And it's interesting because it is definitely adult sci-fi. I said it possibly was like new adult, but no, both of these characters are like in their 30s. I think our main female character actually is 33. Just a coincidence. And then the other one is closer to 40, but they're like trying to infiltrate a nation that potentially has like human experimentation going on, which is a big no-no, because they want to get proof of it to like keep a treaty. And like I said at the very beginning of these reading sprints, we did have some like secrets between both characters, like I guess from like what they were doing before this book started. And I still feel like I personally as a reader would like to know more, just because if everybody's keeping secrets, it's a little hard to keep up with like what I think each secret is. But it does also look like one of our main characters, her right here, has some sort of like anxiety disorder or PTSD sort of thing going on. So I'm liking the representation that way. And we'll just have to read more and see what actually is going on. But that's very exciting.
Good morning and happy Thursday. I did not update you guys at all yesterday. The last thing you guys saw was the fact that I did reading sprints on Tuesday for my birthday. And it's because I had a dentist appointment yesterday afternoon to get some fillings and to get my one and only ever wisdom tooth removed. Because it was the only one back there, there was nothing to like touch. Like, there was no other wisdom tooth back there to touch, and so it was dropping down anyway. It was so big and so far back there that I couldn't physically brush the back side of my tooth, and so I had a cavity back there too, and it just was at that point where I was like, let's get rid of it. The dentist was like, it's dropping, it's gonna need to be getting rid of anyway. And so I got a tooth pulled yesterday. My jaw is a little bit sore today, but I think it's actually from the couple fillings that I got versus the actual tooth coming out. But I'm on a no straw thing for like a whole week. We're keeping an eye on it. Very soft foods for the next day or so. But that does mean I actually did end up finishing this one last night. I think I'm giving it 3.5 stars, mostly because I just wish we got a little bit more into the previous story. So this is a story that I know I've talked about a little bit here and a little bit on this stream and everything. And I did think it was interesting that we had these characters who are in their 30s, almost going on to 40 for some of them, and we're seeing the aftermath of, I guess, what used to happen in the past when they were in the military, and they're going on this mission to try and find evidence against somebody else they used to know, of like human experimentation, because that's a big no-no, and they want to prevent the treaty from like getting overblown and a war starting. The thing is, everybody has secrets from each other, and in this book, with the writing style it is, there are also secrets from us, and I was really wishing that we were going to get more information, but everything that they're thinking about is just very, very like hush hush, and so it's hard to keep up with that. And then we get to the end of the book and something happened that I assumed was going to happen, but then we never really got any sort of conclusion for it. This is a part 1 of 3 in this series, but it felt like we almost ended on a cliffhanger. Like we didn't get enough conclusion for this one story. We also have like anxiety and PTSD rep and scarring, and this guy has only like one eye, or maybe he has an eye but it doesn't work very well. He has an eye patch for some reason, and so we have some pretty good representation that way, but it's sort of just like mentioned and not taken as far as I would like. Like we get a little bit of that near the beginning of the story, and like stuff like that, but we never really see the whole ramifications of it. But also some of the PTSD comes from what happened previous to this story, and a lot of that seems more interesting than what we got here. Like I liked what we were getting, but they kept referring back to what happened before, and I almost wish that was part of the story, because it seems like it would be more interesting to read as it was happening versus having it be like an afterthought of them letting us know what happened. You know what I mean? So like it was good, and I might continue with the series. I'm not entirely sure yet, just because I'm not sure where this is gonna go, but I liked it well enough. I gave it a 3.5. Like it wasn't necessarily my favorite, but it had some really, really good elements, and I just wish it had a little bit more going for it. Now, I really need to keep going with the books that I picked for my TBR, since I need to film my new TBR within another week or so. So I think I'm going to move on to one that I think is going to be quick and easy to read, which is Dust and Grimm by Chuck Wendig. This is a children's middle grade fantasy, paranormal sort of thing about like a monster mortuary and a brother and sister who've never really known each other because the parents, I think, were divorced or whatever, and they have to sort of figure out how they're going to work with this after, I think, their dad dies, something like that. I'm very curious about this one because I've read some adult stuff by Chuck Wendig, and so yeah, it's a middle grade. The font size does seem pretty good for how many pages are in here, so I do think this will be a very quick one to get into and read, and so this is my next pick. Everyone, I didn't update much yesterday because my tooth area isn't that bad actually, but the more I talk, the more I feel it, and so like my jaw is also sort of sore just from like, I think partly being held open the whole time, but also where they took my wisdom tooth out is so far back that it's like part of that like hinge anyway. It's doing much better today, still a little bit sore, haven't had to take much pain medicine like ibuprofen or acetaminophen or anything like that, so that is great. I did want to give you guys an update on Dust and Grimm. I read about 100 pages of this yesterday, 120 something actually, and I have no idea how to actually feel about it. I read a little bit more today, so I'm actually on page 155, which is part 2 of this book. Like there's a couple different parts in it, and now that I'm in part 2, over 150 pages in, I'm getting into it a little bit more, but the writing style and the way that this was introduced at the very beginning of the book was very jarring, especially because I've read this author's work before as adult books, and this is a middle grade. And a lot of the dialogue feels like an adult trying to be cool, but in a middle grade setting. Like, the language of it was a little bit weird. Our main character has like this weird way of talking, like somebody would question her and she'd be like, "What? Shut up, you're weird." And it's like, that's how it reads, and it's very off-putting a little bit. Also, she talks about her dad as dad, but also as Steve. "She cranky girl. You're okay. You're okay." The camera.
Okay.
Yeah, here, watch out. Okay, we're back. She would say, like, Steve, which is obviously her dad's name, but it wouldn't just be Steve. It'd be like Steve Aruni, Steve Orama, Steve Aroni. And it's like every other page at the beginning of this book. And it's very, very annoying and very weird. And so the beginning is very jarring that way. The way that she specifically talks, the way that the narration just sort of throws us into her trying to get money out of her brother, who she's never met before. He didn't even know she existed, this kind of thing, because both of their parents are passed away. And then we slowly start to realize that there's more going on, which we knew about from like the summary. There's some sort of like monstrous stuff happening, and we're now getting into that. And so now that we're into that more action-y based type of stuff, I'm liking that. So I wasn't sure how to feel about it at the beginning, still not entirely sure how I'm gonna feel about it as we go, but it has been better now that we've gotten like 100 and something pages in. Also, because it is a middle grade, it is very quick to read. Like, I'm reading this at like almost 200 pages an hour pacing wise, because I do read with my Bookly app on, so that I get a sort of like, oh, this is how long it should take me to read. Like, it's very quick to get into. So that's a bonus, because I do want to continue with it and see. But obviously, if I was feeling about it more and it was taking longer to read, I would probably DNF, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. Okay, everyone, today is going to be the last day of the vlog, and it's actually 4:30 p.m. Because my husband and I went out test driving cars. We're looking for a 7-seater SUV instead of a 5-seater, and we ended up ordering a car to come into the dealership today, so it won't be in for like 6 to 8 weeks. But we were only planning on doing test drives, but we found a car that we really, really enjoy, but also this person that like was selling it to us was very down to earth and like, hey, if you can't do this right now, you can always leave, test drive other things, come back. Like, he was just so nice about it compared to some dealerships, and then ended up telling us, because I really wanted a blue car, telling us that he could order one in. It wouldn't be in for like 6 to 8 weeks, which was actually when we were looking into potentially buying them anyway. And then we would only have to put like $1,000 down, and we won't have to pay anything else down for it until it actually comes in, which was like perfect timing. So we sort of bought a car / ordered a car. But besides that, I finished this last night. I did not exactly like this one. I think I'm giving it a 2.5 versus a 2, which is like my normal. I did not like this book because there were a couple parts that I thought were funny. Like, I did chuckle out loud a little bit, but in general, it definitely just did not give me the right sort of middle grade vibe to this. I think I talked about it a little bit, about how our main character is just sort of like, the way she talks is very weird, and that continues on through the entire book. There's also some parts where it's supposed to be like heartwarming, heartfelt, giving you some like advice and stuff, but it all just sort of fell very flat. It did not feel right in some way. I don't know if it's because I'm used to this author as an adult author, if that's sort of the genre, or age grouping I should say, not genre, age grouping that he should stick with. But this was written in such a way that it didn't feel like it should be written for a middle grade audience. It felt like an adult trying to sound like a middle grader. And then also, it was written, like some of the jokes that were in here were written for adults. Like, it had farm to table stuff. And like some of the some of the stuff that was in here just did not make sense for like younger kids to actually know about. So it was a very weird tone of story. Also, the actual like monster and problem and stuff that was happening here didn't really matter to me like at all. And then at the end of the story, we do get like the reason why Molly and her brother Dustin were separated, because like she grew up with her father and he grew up with their mother and he didn't even know she existed. And it was very lackluster. Like, I was expecting that plot point to actually matter in this story, and it didn't. It did not matter whatsoever. So I don't understand the character motivations for a lot of the characters in here, and a lot of the characters like the mom and the dad, who are dead previous to the story starting, that weren't there. Like, I just don't understand. So I am very disappointed with this one, because I gave 5 stars to the Miriam Black books that I read, like all of them that I've read, which I have not finished that series yet. I want to. Loved those ones, like so much, and those are adult ones, obviously. So I just don't think middle grade is his age group. Like, it just did not work. And so that is going to be it, because it is now like Saturday evening, and I started this on a Sunday. Normally I do vlogs Monday to Sunday, but I feel like this is enough. We've been very busy this week, doing lots of things, reading a couple books at least, and so yeah, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye!